Hey guys, what's up? It's Dylan, and today I'm back with an update on my 100-gallon discus tank. I'm not actually going to be showing any of that tank in this video. It's more just like an update for the fish. So, yeah. I've had the discus for about 3 weeks now. They've been growing quite a lot. I think the largest one I have is the big red melon that you can see at the bottom here in this clip. They're all doing really well, eating a ton. I've gone from feeding them 2 to 3 times a day to feeding them 3 to 4 times a day, and still daily 80% water changes, as you'll see right here. And they're all doing really well, actually. I've actually been having to wash out the sponge on a daily basis in the aquaclear hang-on back filter just because of how much I feed them and how dirty it gets. And just in order to keep the ammonia at 0, because I tested the other day, even though the tank is cycled, just because of how much I feed them, by the end of the day it ends up getting closer to 0.25 ppm ammonia instead of 0, which is obviously not what I want it to be at. So I have to do these huge water changes to make sure that it stays as close to 0 as possible. But yeah, other than that little issue, the water quality is great. pH is at a stable 7.4, and they're all doing really well. I'll get to this later in the video, but basically there is another fish in the tank in the quarantine right now. That's not the discus. I just got him 2 days ago, and I'm really excited for him to be in the 100-gallon too with them. And I'll show you that in a little bit, but for now you just enjoy this sped up version of the tank refilling with water. Ever since I recorded the last video, I've had a couple scares with the discus. At first I thought they might have internal parasites because about 5 days into the quarantine I came in one day and they were all just sitting in a corner with their fins completely clamped. I'm not sure exactly what caused that, but I dosed their food with a little bit of Metroplex just in case they had some internal parasites. And for about 2 or 3 days, and they seemed to get better after that. I'm not sure if they're just stressed or actually had internal parasites, but I don't know, there's really no way to know. Yeah, I also decided to add this air stone in because I realized with a tank constantly at about 87 degrees, 88 degrees, that they're going to be really low oxygen concentration in the water, especially for a tank overstocked like this. And usually I feed them Vibrobites, but I actually picked up some new foods such as these tetracolor pellets that they really like. They probably actually like them more than the Vibrobites. A lot of people on different various forums recommended this to boost red in discus, and they said the discus really like these. I also got some discus Hikari Biogold the other day that they're eating. I'm not really feeding the Vibrobites anymore. I mostly got them just because I thought it'd be easier for them to eat. But they like these pellets more, and they're probably better for them. So yeah, I've also noticed that a lot of the food gets sucked up straight into the filter, which not only makes me have to clean out the sponge every day, but also is probably the main reason why for the past few weeks ammonia has been getting above 0, even though the tank is cycled. So I'm just gonna grab this input, or I guess grab this sponge that was on the filter in my 10-gallon and just plop it right into the 29-gallon to try and prevent that. I'm sure this is going to be a lot more useful in this tank than in the tank with a tiny beta and like German blue ram and a couple tiny tetras. So hopefully this will solve my problem and I'll just be able to clean this out once a day instead of having to take apart the whole filter.
Koshka? Koshka, what are you chewing? Koshka? Koshka, are you chewing the carpet? Yeah!
You! God, I really hate centipedes. Alright, so this is the fish that I just added to the quarantine 2 days ago. This is what I believe is an L142 snowball PLECO that I picked up from my local fish store. Really excited for this PLECO. I really like how the various snowball PLECOs look. This is not really a dwarf species. It doesn't get to be a monster like common plecos, but it gets about 9 to 10 inches. So it's going to get pretty large, but it should be fine in the 100-gallon. Initially, when I first got it, I was actually kind of scared after the whole thing with a few cardinal tetras dying from columnaris after being introduced to the tank. 100-gallon. I was kind of scared that this one had it too, because as I was looking at it, it sort of had white, it has like splotches of white film on its body, especially around its fins, which is a pretty big sign of columnaris in fish. It also had a chunk missing out of its right fin, if you can see in this little zoomed in bit here, which was a little concerning. So I actually dosed the tank with Canaplex, and just to be sure, but I don't really think that was necessary, because at this point, after it's calmed down, the white splotches have actually gone away. That could have just been from the medication, but I'm just going to assume that that's because the fish was just really stressed from the initial acclimation introduction to the new tank, and so it like probably produced just a ton of slime coat, and that's what I was seeing, and it wasn't actually any infection, but I wanted to medicate just in case. And so yeah, I'm really excited. I really like the patterning on this PLECO. I think it looks awesome personally, and this isn't the best footage. I think this is the day that I added him to the tank, and yeah, I know that like probably mean to like move around the stuff in the tank, just so I can like get footage of him not sitting underneath a piece of wood. But at the same time, I was also doing a water change when I recorded this, so I had to move around that piece of wood and that airstone anyways, just to suck up everything off the bottom, so it's not really avoidable. I know it does stress out the fish to have stuff moved around, but I'm sure he can deal with it for however many weeks he's in here in order to keep the tank clean. And so yeah, now that we're done with all the new introductions, I just have some really good footage that I got here, in my opinion what I think is really good footage of close-ups of the discus eating. And I just hope you all enjoy this video. One thing that I think is kind of interesting actually about the red turquoise discus that I got is that 2 of them seem to have this yellow orangey coloration on them with almost no stress lines at any point. I rarely ever see any sign of stress lines on the lighter ones, but this like darker red and blue one that I'm seeing now, which I assume comes from the same batch of fry as the other fish, because they're all around the same size and I got them from the same source, has really different coloration and it's just a lot more darker in coloration than the other ones, despite being roughly the same size and what I assume from the same batch of fish. If this is common, just like let me know. I just think it's a little weird because the other 2 look so similar to each other, and this one is just like, I guess more so what I thought I was getting when I got a red turquoise, and the other 2 are more lighter orangey colors, closer to the, like, I guess not closer to the red melon in coloration. So you could let me know if I guess variation in like darkness and color in fish from the same batches is common, because it just seems really stark to me how different he looks. I've only had them for about 3 weeks now, but I've definitely seen growth. When I got them, they were all around 2 to 2.5 inches, and I think they're closer to 2.5 to 3 inches, and the largest red melon might be honestly getting somewhere around approaching like 3.25 inches at this point. Getting pretty big, honestly. I'm probably not going to add them to the tank for about another month. I'll add the snwoball PLECO to the tank in 3 weeks time if everything goes well and he's not sick. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to leave a like. And if you want to see more updates on the Discus Gang and maybe some Rainbow Six Siege videos that I'll be uploading in the future, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see all you guys in the next video. Bye.